Yeah, hi, Aaron here. Just going to read a short letter that was written on the 7th of August 2015 by a relative of mine, Ken Conrick. His great-grandfather was the original founder of Nappa Merrie Station in Queensland in 1873 on Cooper's Creek. Apparently the first white man to settle permanently on Cooper's Creek. And he had a relationship with that area right up to the Conrick family, right up to about 1953 when it was sold. He met my mother in Nanpika. They were unaware that either were there. They were also unaware of each other being a descendant of John Conrick. So I'll share that story with you now that he wrote. Was it fate or just being in the right place at the right time? Ken Conrick, 7th of August 2015. A couple of weeks ago I did a Burke and Wills tour with a company called Holiday Wonders from Adelaide, with the pinnacle of the tour being a visit to the dig tree on the Cooper Creek. I had negotiated with the tour company and with Peter Degamoy, the manager of Nappa Merrie Station, to include a visit to the homestead as part of the tour. This would tick off one of the items on the bucket list after several unsuccessful attempts to get there in the past. As a pilot in my early 20s, I flew there a number of times, dropping off stores and/or passengers. The house strip did not exist then, so I always landed at the Royal Flying Doctor Service strip, which was a few miles to the east of the homestead. I knew that Nappa Merrie had a connection to the family, but it wasn't for another 25 years that I began to understand its significance in the Conrick family history. John and Agnes Conrick had 8 children, only 4 of whom survived, and 3 of them are buried at Nappa Merrie Station. One of the objectives of this trip was to find the location of these graves. On the Monday morning, we left Nanpika at about 8 a.m, heading for Nappa Merrie, where we were scheduled to have smoko provided by the homestead at about 10 a.m. We were then going to go to the dig tree, back to Nanpika for a late lunch, then go do the evening boat trip on the Cooper, visiting a number of other significant Burke and Wills sites, getting back about 7:30 for dinner. When we arrived at Nappa Merrie, our driver, Michael Simcock, noticed radiator fluid leaking out of the back of the bus, so while we went for coffee and cake, he attempted to remove the radiator and repair the leak. 4 hours later, a rescue party of 3 vehicles had arrived from Nanpika, and the replacement bus was on its way from Adelaide, 1,200 kilometres away, ready for the next day of our tour. This was a bonus for me, as I had 4 hours at the homestead. Katie Degamoy showed me through the house, and we compared notes on photos that I had in my collection and what was on display in the office and the hallway. I had time to have a good wander around the garden and down to the creek. I met with Don Robertson, grandson of Clara Robertson and Nee Summerfield, who was a cook at Nappa Merrie, and we talked about the possible location of the gravesite. I had some handwritten notes from Dad's brother, John Conrick, who was shown the location in 1940. At that stage, they were buried under a sand drift. Using some of the original station photos together with a dead coolabah tree that was shown in the photos, we were able to narrow it down to an approximate location. They lie under 15 to 20 feet of sand, so will probably never be uncovered. I shared a quiet moment with my ancestors and paid my respects to them. The crew who came out from Nanpika to take us back into town were the same people who were to take us on the boat cruise, as the ultimate objective of the tour was to go to the dig tree. We negotiated that they'd take us to the tree instead of doing the boat trip. We spent a couple of informative hours there before heading back to Nanpika about 6 p.m. As we had a bit of time before tea, we all headed for the pub and the shop. I went in and had a look at their book display, looking to see if they had any of Helen Tolcher's books, as there were still 2 that I did not have to complete my collection. I must have had a man's look because I did not see anything, so went back to the pub for a beer. We were having a chat about the events of the day when one of the group came in all excited, having just purchased Helen's book on Nanpika. So back to the shop for a second look, and I found what I was looking for, proceeding to the checkout to pay for it. I got talking to the lady behind the counter about the book when she advised me that there was, in fact, a second book there by Helen Tolcher, The Seed of the Coolabah. This is a book on Aboriginal history of the Nanpika area. Beautifully illustrated and contains a number of photos from the Conrick collection, and was the one that I had been looking for. Now, this is when it gets freaky. As I was walking back to the counter, a middle-aged Aboriginal woman said to me, "Enjoy reading that book. It is my family history." I looked at her and replied, "It is my history as well, with some of the content coming from my great-grandfather." There were two young men with her, and I noticed one of them looking at our tour name badge, which we each wore to remember who was who. One of the young men said to me, "I have you in my family history, in my family tree." Wow, this was mind-blowing. I became quite emotional and still choke up as I write this now. I knew that I had found a connection to the descendants of Cora, Nanpika. This was a subject that had been spoken of in the past by some family members, but also flatly denied by others. Helen Tolcher hinted at it in her book Conrick of Nappa Merrie, without coming out and saying that John Conrick and Cora had a relationship at about the time that Agnes left with young Joe Conrick in 1900. The next morning we met again before I left for Lee Creek, and I left the young fellow with my contact details. He quickly put together a tree diagram of his family showing the connection, and we went our separate ways. It was a very moving time for me, and a chance meeting that I will always treasure. So back to the title of the story. If the bus hadn't broken down, then we would have done our trip to the dig tree, then the boat trip, then tea, and this meeting would never have happened. And I would not be telling the story now. Some things are just meant to happen. Since returning, I have done a considerable amount of research, starting with the family tree I was given, going back through all of Helen Tolcher's books, looking for clues that I might have missed before, and also giving Google and Ancestry.com a fair hammering. This led me to the name Aaron Paterson. That's me. Another descendant of Cora, who has done a wealth of research, but more importantly uncovers the connection between John King of Burke and Wills fame and his family. Cora is the daughter of Annie King, or Yellow Alice, who was the daughter of John King and Turingi, the woman who cared for him. The next part of the journey is to make contact with Aaron Paterson, which he's now since done, and also build a relationship with the family in Nanpika. The family tree is kept by me. I would welcome input from anyone who can just contribute to this discovery so that our history is documented and not lost. My name is Aaron. My mother is Gloria Paterson, or Gloria Jean Kerwin. Her mother was Edna Kerwin. Her parents were Benny Kerwin of Nanpika and Nellie Parker of Nappa Merrie, born in 1905. She was given the name Parker as that was her older brother Bob Parker's father's name, but she was in fact Nellie Conrick. Her father was John Conrick. John Conrick had 4 sons, and Nellie Parker, my great-grandmother, is his Aboriginal daughter. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.